Greeting, it's Stasia Bliss. In this episode, I want to talk about loving him or loving her just as they are. This is a big one. This is one that I believe we're at a sensitive juncture in time, space, if you will, where as we're going through our personal empowerment journey, sometimes we're not exactly in the same space as the person that we're with. Maybe we've attracted somebody who, they're attracted to us because of the place we're in, or we're attracted to them because of the place they're in, and maybe we're more empowered in some areas of our life and they are in other areas of their life, and we come together and then we kind of juxtapose those things next to each other, and then we start to decide whether or not we like this thing about this other person. And we oftentimes use it as a gauge as to whether or not we're going to stay with them. Now, sometimes there's obvious things that you might call a red flag, or that's just not going to work as a core thing, but I'm wondering how many of those things are legitimate, because if there is attraction, if there's chemistry, if there is a draw in that way from both parties, then the question begins to become, like a relationship creates a safe space for alchemy to occur. So what that means is our psychological templating that we've had from childhood, that we have been passed down through genetics, it is now finding a place to express. And generally, we save all the things that we think are unlovable for our relationships because we just can't seem to find a place for them anywhere else in the world. So here comes a relationship. This person's supposed to love me. Here's a place where I get to open up and be myself. And then this is the place where often it's like, oh, I like you except for this thing. Like if you just didn't do this thing, then maybe this would work out. And I'm seeing this happen a lot toward men lately, with women, friends, or clients. And, I've experienced this as well. And the question gets to be posed, you know, we're all bringing everything to the table from our heart and saying, hey, if you think that I'm lovable, what about this? And it's almost like a subconscious thing, like, yeah, I bet that there's something I'm going to find that you can't love about me. How about this thing? How about you can't love this about me, right? Like you can love all these other things, but what if I show you this thing? And the challenge is, can we love those things about each other exactly as we are, so that we can actually move past this phase of all these maybe more like childish musings, or, not that childlike is bad, but there's certain things we're carrying from our childhood, and they are often wounds, and they're ways that we've coped with those wounds. And so in a relationship, we kind of like test out, can I bring this wound, and what happens when I bring this wound to the table? Are you going to love that about me? Is it lovable, or is it not lovable? And I failed this test too. Like, I'm not perfect at this. But we come into that place and it's like, there's certain people that it's easier to recognize and say, okay, like I'm recognizing that you're bringing a wound. And my only job right now is to love that about you, to love all the things you're showing me, and recognize that I too am going to have certain things that I've deemed unlovable about me that maybe I'm going to bring to the table at some point, and I'm going to also hope that you respond to me that that thing is lovable too, or that I'm lovable even with that thing that's come up. And that's the challenge that often is the break point for relationships, is there a thing that is unlovable? Is there a thing that we deem unlovable that is just the break point? And it could be anything. It could be like, you didn't show up for me right then when I really needed you. I can't be around people who don't show up for me, so that's a break point. Okay, but so then if we look at that and we really go, okay, I'm going to open my heart to this right now, and I'm going to say, okay, maybe you have not shown up for people in the past. Maybe people haven't shown up for you in the past. I'm recognizing this as a something I'm identifying as a flaw that's not working for me, but I'm going to see if I can love that part of you anyway. I'm going to love even that about you because I can see the bigger picture, and I can see that there's more here, and that's just one particle of you manifesting. And or we can take any quality that comes up. Oh, this person's angry, or this person, went to jail, or this person has a drug problem, or this person, fought with their last partner. Or whatever it is, we've all got ghosts in the closet. We've all got skeletons. We've all done things maybe we're not proud of, and maybe some of those things still show up to this day. Even if you're at the most conscious place you've ever been, you've worked on yourself bunches, and you feel good about yourself, you can still get into a relationship and find that certain things are a disconnect. And I suppose the question is, how committed are you to love? And of course, we can surface love each other. We can love just the surface modules. And we can go, that's as much love as I'm willing to give. But then we can go to the next level and we can say, you know what, I'm going to love as deeply as I'm allowed to love until I'm stopped from loving. And sometimes I'm going to mess up and I'm going to bring stuff to the table that doesn't seem loving, but my intention is still to love, and I'm still just looking to connect with others who want to meet me in that love. So the challenge is to love that thing about the other person anyway, to see that it's lovable too. And if that loving that thing actually changes that thing or change you, which is, I believe, one or both of those things happen. Either you decide to love something about another person that they think is not lovable. Maybe no one's loved them for that thing. Maybe that's always the thing that breaks their relationships apart, and you choose to love that about them anyway and say, I love you anyway, even if you are angry all the time, or even if you have this, you know, drinking thing, or whatever it is. Whatever it is. Even if you like to go to bed early every night and I'm a night owl, you know, and we quarrel about that because of noise or whatever, I'm going to choose to love that part of you as well. That either the quality changes or we change to recognize our ability to love unconditionally. And of course, we have conditions, things that line up with the truth of who we are. And so until we get to that block point where it's just not flowing anymore and someone new shows up in its place, the goal is, like, can we love that about each other, about him, about her? And I'm really speaking to the women right now as a challenge with your man right now as he is awakening to his deeper sense of self and gifts. Can you love the things that he's found unlovable about himself? Can you see his wounds and love them anyway and be that woman in his life? I hope that you can, and I hope that I can do that for you. Have a beautiful rest of the day. Until next time.